Okay, I'm gonna try to do one last one. I'm feeling so dizzy. Hi, welcome to the archives. So I just wanted to share some excerpts from oh, shit, this book I've been reading on why does he do that inside the minds of angry and controlling men by Lundy Bancroft. And so let me just pull up. Is Lundy of what gender? Oh, Lundy is a man. Well, I'm reading gender off the body. Okay, so this is written by a man. Just for those, because fellows would be like, "Oh, a woman wrote this." It's written by a man. Okay, and they have been working with abuse survivors for years and years, since the 80s, 40 years since before I was born, I believe. Um, I've been working with angry and controlling men for 15 years as a counselor, evaluator, and investigator. And this was originally published in, let me see, 2002. Okay? So, maybe not as long as that. So basically, I just want to read some excerpts from here because it's been blowing my mind. The exact same behaviors emerge from him regardless of the woman. So sometimes people will be like, oh, you made me do this, and you is your personality. But if you pay attention over time, it's usually they're serial abusers. It usually will show up again with the next person. And they'll get with the next person, they'll blame their ex, right? She's crazy, she was abusive, she was the one, all the projection. She was the one that did this to me, she broke me, you are so much better than her. And then the same woman ends up going through the same thing. So the exact same behaviors emerge from him regardless of the woman. Unless it's a casual fling or a relationship he's using as a window dressing to cover up past accusations of abuse. You didn't make him this way, and you don't set him off, however much he insists on it. His behavior is 100% about him. You can't manage him, right? Um, Standing up to him more never accomplishes lasting change. In fact, he'll escalate his behavior in response, and standing up to him less is toxic to your soul, leading to serious long term emotional harm. You can't help him change. I think a lot of us think that we stick around because we think people will change, right? You can't help him change. If he does change, which is uncommon, he does so only when clear limits are set for him by the legal system, and when the woman has left him and has set clear terms for her return. But it's usually the legal system, a tough legal system is usually the only thing that will self-correct. So also Lundy talks about how talking about narcissism is not helpful because it takes away from the conversation. It distracts attention from the main problem, which is societal values. Boys learn to be abusers primarily from social and cultural messages that surround them everywhere, right? They're conditioned from when you're young. Oh, I'm better than my sister. I'm better than my female cousins. Um, I'm better than the girls in my class. I'm better, right? It's a superiority thing. A lot of boys and men grow up thinking they are superior to women, and so it's just how they were raised. It's not narcissism. It's just an entitlement that they've always known, according to this book. It leads us to focus on the man's emotional wounds, which are the cause of true narcissism, rather than on his mentality. 40 years of research and counseling experience demonstrates that the male abuser's problem is entirely in his mind, not in his heart. A learned sense of entitlement, not emotional wounds. I was like, oof, that one hit me hard. Because I'm the type of person to be like, oh, but it's their trauma, and they've been through this, and they've had it hard, and don't you see what the world does to black men? And just, right? So you're always making excuses. And it has actually, this book says it has nothing to do with, it has nothing to do with the emotional wounds. It's the mind. What else did I learn? So the differences between emotional abuse, verbal abuse, physical violence, right? And so there are millions of women who have never been beaten, but who live with repeated verbal assault, humiliation, sexual coercion, and other forms of psychological abuse, often accompanied by economic exploitation. Yeah, they'll sabotage your jobs, they'll drain your bank accounts, they'll, right? We see that right now. I would say that that's also what's happening right now in the United States. Poach them out of the workforce. It's all economic abuse, economic exploitation. The scars of mental cruelty can be as deep and long lasting as wounds from punches or slaps, but are often not as obvious. In fact, even among women who have experienced violence from a partner, half or more report that the man's emotional abuse is what is causing them greatest harm. Right? So we think physical violence is like the worst, and again, whether there's a hierarchy or not, but the emotional abuse is usually there regardless. The difference between the verbally abusive man and the physical batterer are not as great as many people believe. The behavior of either style of abuser grows from the same roots and is driven by the same thinking. Men in either category follow similar processes of change in overcoming their abusiveness. If they do change, which unfortunately is not common. Uh, Physically assaultive men are also verbally abusive with their partners. Mentally cruel, and I love that they use the word cruel because they are cruel. Mentally cruel and manipulative men tend to gradually drift into using physical intimidation as well. So it says the early symptoms of abuse are there, right? All of a sudden, there's frequently pull downs or cracking jokes at you all too often. It's just a joke. I didn't mean it. You're so sensitive. Early generosity turns into selfishness, verbal explosions when he is irritated or when he doesn't get his way. Her grievances consistently gets turned on her, so everything is her own fault. His growing attitude that he knows what is good for her better than she does. That's a big one. I know what's best for you. Yeah, mounting intimidation, and then the women start to feel like I just can't seem to get anything right. I wanted to share an example here of how different people have. Okay, so I wanted to read this because it just shows you the difference between a man's perspective and a woman's perspective. So, a man named Dale in his mid 30s gave the following account when he entered my group for abusive men. Again, this is a group for abusive men. It's run by again a man. So my wife Maureen and I have been together for 11 years. The first 10 years we had a good marriage, and there was no problems or abuse or violence or anything. She was a great girl. Then about a year ago, she started hanging around this bitch she met named Eleanor, who really has it in for me. Some people just can't stand to see someone else happy. This girl was single and was obviously jealous of Maureen, was in a good marriage, so she set out to wreck it. Nobody can get along with Eleanor, so of course she has no relationships that last. I just had the bad luck that she ran into my wife. So this bitch started planting a lot of bad stuff about me in Maureen's head and turning her against me. She tells Maureen that I don't care about her, that I'm sleeping with her girls, with other girls, all kinds of lies. And she's getting what she wants because now Maureen and I have started having some wicked fights. This past year, we haven't gotten along at all. I tell Maureen I don't want her hanging around with that girl, but she doesn't listen to me. She sneaks around and sees her behind my back. And look, I'm not here to hide anything. I'll tell you straight out. It's true that 2 or 3 times this year I finally couldn't take all the accusations and yelling anymore, and I've hauled off and slapped her. I need help. I'm not denying it. I have to learn to deal with the stress better. I don't want her to get me arrested. And maybe I can figure out how to persuade Maureen not to throw a great thing away. Because at this rate we're going, we'll be broken up in 6 months. So that's his version. So again, the counselor reaches out to Maureen, who is his wife. Listen to her account. Dale was great. Dale was great when I first met him. But by the time we got married, something was already wrong. Remember, he said they had a great 10 years. He had gone from thinking I was perfect to constantly criticizing me, and he would get in such a bad mood over the littlest things. I wouldn't be able to figure out how to get him to feel better. Only a couple of months after the wedding, they've been married 11 years. He said 10 years was great. It was just the last year that's bad. She's saying a couple months after the wedding, he showed me for the first time that some explosion would happen about 2 or 3 times a year. Usually he would break something or raise a fist, but a few times he shoved or slapped me. Some years he didn't do it at all, and I would think it was all over, but then it would happen again. It sort of comes in waves, and he was always putting me down and telling me what to do. I couldn't do anything right. Anyhow, a year ago, I made a new friend, Eleanor. She started telling me that what Dale was doing was abuse, even though he had never punched me or injured me, and I hadn't done anything to deserve it. I first thought she was exaggerating, because I've known women who got so much worse than me. And Dale can be really sweet and supportive when you least expect it. We've had a lot of good times, believe it or not. Anyhow, Eleanor kind of opened my eyes, so I started standing up to Dale. About how he talks to me. I told him I was thinking of moving out. He's gone nuts. I swear something has happened to him. He's backhanded me twice in the last 8 months, and another time he threw me over a chair and my back went out. So I finally moved out. For now, I'm not planning on getting back with him. But see the difference? So for him, when he went to the counselor, again, this goes back to the victimization thing, right? They always say you're playing the victim. When he went to the counselor, it's been a great 10 years of marriage. He doesn't know what she's talking about. Now come to find out that actually he was always like that. I'll share a little bit more. So another guy, Carl. So Carl is his girlfriend. He's 26-year old. He was arrested repeatedly for domestic assault, and he finally served a few months in jail. Right. So now he's in this group session. He said going to jail was the last straw. Right. I finally got it. I have to stop blaming my problems on everybody else and take a look at myself instead. And so at the end of each counseling session, Carl would make comments like, I can see that I got to work on my attitude. I learned a lot last night about how my excuses keep me from changing. One night he looked at me and said, I am really glad I met you, because I think if I wasn't hearing the things you said, I would be headed straight back to being locked up. You're helping me get my head on straight. So you think Carl is doing really well, right? Wow. And so the Lundy calls Carl's girlfriend or wife or whoever, and she's like, he could tell that she's hesitant to talk. So he's like, oh, Carl is probably there. So he hangs up the phone. During a group session when Carl is there, The author has his assistant come in to guide the group because he knows Carl is there. Lundy sneaks out. He goes to call Carl's partner, right? Because he knows that Carl is not with her. And so now her account, mind you, Carl says he's doing better. He's so grateful for the program. He's learning so much. Listen to what his girl says. His woman. Sorry, see, I'm doing the girl thing. Carl comes home from your program in a rage every week. I'm afraid to be around the house on Wednesday nights, which is when he has the group sessions. He says the program is total bullshit and that he wouldn't have to be sitting there getting assaulted by people, by you, if I hadn't called the police on him. And he says that I know the fight that night was my fault anyhow. He says he especially hates that guy Lundy. A few nights ago, I told him to stop blaming it on me, that he had to go to counseling, and he slammed me up against the door jamb and told me if I didn't shut up, he'd choke me. I should call the police, but he gets sent away for 2 years this time because he's on parole, and I'm afraid that would be enough to get him to kill me when he got out. So you think he's doing great, and yet he comes home and rages. So this is what I'm reading right now. Why does he do that? Inside the minds of angry and controlling men. Again, I should have put a trigger warning. Sorry, Mama. It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. It's okay. I should have put a trigger warning out. But yeah, this is just what I've been reading here right now as I recover. Have you guys been getting a cold? Has it been bad? This is probably one of the worst colds I've ever had. So, also a reminder to wear my mask. I try to wear it inside, but every now and then I'll literally get caught slipping, and so it's just a reminder. Stop shaming people who wear masks because people can still get sick and folks are still immunocompromised, right? So, anyways, I'm gonna end it there. This exhausted me. Again, thank God I don't have kids because I can't imagine. Thank you to all the parents out there. Also stop hating. Um, Grateful. Have a good weekend. Until next time. In solidarity. Look at a year.